In Grand Center, the Contemporary Art Museum is activating an outdoor space with a living structure. As Kara Vaninger discovered, it's drawing art lovers and botanists alike with a calming wave of green.
With its high ceilings and stark concrete structure, the Contemporary Art Museum was designed to be a place of unlimited possibilities. The building itself a blank canvas, both inside and out.
Art can really activate spaces and change the way that we view spaces and make us see them differently. And for the past several years, we have been really interested in activating and changing the spaces in the museum that we haven't really looked to before. Obviously, one of those spaces is the courtyard. For a very long time, we were trying to figure what would be the right kind of intervention from an artist.
New York-based Nomad Studio proposed a design that would infuse the Spartan courtyard with a refreshing wave of green.
One of the wonderful parts of this was finding local artisans, craftsmen, skilled people who could actually make it come to fruition. And the idea was a hybrid installation that would include something sculptural, but would also include something live. The structure was built by a company called the CoLab here in St. Louis. The central structure, which bears the greatest load, is a very heavy wood grid. And on top of that are put these dirt pillows, so quite literally, sacks with dirt with engineered soil, onto which is installed vegetated blankets that come pre-planted in pieces, fit together, and that grow into the soil. We have a company here called Green Roof Blocks who did the actual installation, and they hold a patent on these dirt pillows. So real extraordinary expertise, and then certainly the horticulturalists at the Botanical Garden. One couldn't ask for a better set of skilled people. Succulents are really hardy. They do extremely well in St. Louis weather and climate conditions. As perennials, they really can take hold very quickly. They have a kind of low profile even as they grow, and it creates a little bit of undulation. You are still looking at something that feels very much like a carpet has been sort of dropped from the sky or unfurled onto the courtyard surface, and that is kind of a perfect match with the profile of the sedum. All of those varieties are very multi-leaved. So there's this kind of condensed, complex ecosystem of plants that have been chosen, and it's really quite lovely. This is indeed living, and it proves that to you by the fact that there's constant change. Some of the varieties of sedum have bloomed. Others of them are growing faster. So you begin to have certain varieties that are sort of beginning to hang over the edge, and that will change the appearance of the piece. And those things are part of the design. It's also a leap of faith. You're taking on changeability when you do a work like this. We have a metal grid structure in the roof and the ceiling of the courtyard. And so that makes it a completely different object at every time of the day as these kind of stripes move across it, and even the shadows from the buildings that move along it, it cuts the plane of the green, or it changes the way that you see color. And that is something that the designers absolutely thought of, because you also understand being outside, you're in an uncontrolled environment. The entire time that Green Varnish is up, we have free lemonade Saturdays. That is just about saying, come sit, look at this thing, contemplate it, luxuriate in it, and think differently about what contemporary art can be. We also wanted to set up opportunities throughout the life of the exhibition where we could investigate some of the questions and the ideas that this piece raises.
The museum hosted several events that explored possible intersections of creativity and horticulture. including workshops on urban greenscapes, prefab planting, and green roofs, as well as an open panel discussion with the Green Varnish designers and representatives from both Missouri Botanical Gardens and CoLab.
We understood there was a whole other audience in St. Louis that could become interested in this, and that was the audience who wanted to know more about or were already involved with horticulture and botany. So in working with Gateway Greening, we were really interested in the idea of what is urban greening? You know, what's the difference between a green roof that's decorative or a raised bed that grows vegetables? And where can you do these things in the city? What are the opportunities? It's a temporary intervention, but it is a 2-year temporary intervention. So it will be deinstalled in the fall, but we will reinstall it next summer. Part of the thrill will be sort of reimagining how a different profile and nature of plant could completely change your experience. So what's really interesting for us is now thinking about what it means to reuse and recycle the greening part of it. There are 6,000 individual plants. Those are perennials. We would like to do a kind of auction and sale of the sedum when it is deinstalled, which would be really fun, so people could actually take home a little piece of green varnish.